Well, you know, if there's one thing I have to give Barack Obama credit for, he had a laser focus. He was willing to do anything to get that bill passed, make any deal, twist any arm, do whatever was necessary to get it passed, even though it was as far from something that really was embraced by the American people as it could have been. I yelled myself hoarse over that bill because I really believe that it was such a turning point for America. If we don't repeal that legislation, I'm convinced that it will be one of the central themes in the ultimate economic obituary of the United States. We will revisit this bill. It is something that will bankrupt us if we don't. And of course, it's not just about the financial aspects of it, the economic indications. It's about robbing the American people of freedom. I mean, it is a real tragedy, and I hope the people don't forget what happens here. If they do, if the people do forget what occurred in this bill, then we may not take the House back or change presidents in 2012. And if we don't, this will become entrenched in America's our system, and it will be a great tragedy for future generations. You know, most of us said before the bill ever passed that if government taking over health care actually reduces its cost, it will be the first time in history that that's ever occurred. Anytime government's taken over anything, it has always cost more. That is just the nature of socialized process of any kind. Now, you know, I'm on the Armed Services Committee, and some of us make the case that, you know, you do have to have government run certain things, and the national defense is one of them, because we have to have a cohesive command structure. But even there, I don't think that makes it less expensive. The notion that somehow nationalizing health care has made it less expensive, is somehow going to save us money, is ridiculous beyond my vocabulary to express it. Well, I really do. You know, of course, I see the Tea Party's principal tenets and reasons why they exist. And I'm, of course, as a conservative Republican, I don't know of any area that I really disagree with them on anything. And I think that they have tapped a nerve in American life, and that they have kind of awakened, played a part at least in awakening the American people. And that is probably one of the glimmers of hope that I have seen since the Obama administration came into existence, that somehow, in spite of all of the left-wing sled to hell, as it were, that the administration represents to this country, I am convinced that the American people are waking up. And maybe that's one thing we should thank the Obama administration. They have done things that are so outrageous that the American people have sensed the danger here, and they're waking up, and that is an incredible encouragement to me. And I think that the Tea Party has a lot to, the country owes them a debt of gratitude to a great degree in that regard. Well, I really do believe it's unconstitutional. Arizona, my state, is one of those that has joined in the lawsuit to challenge it, because it essentially says, for the first time that I know of in American history, to the American people, you will buy this product, and if you don't, we will fine you. That's just, the Founding Fathers would roll over in their grave. Somebody say, you know, they would have a regular fit if someone said that that's what they meant in their constitutional tenets. I think some of them would challenge you to a duel on that point. But the notion that it's constitutional for the federal government to tell the American people, you will buy this type of health care, and if you don't, we will fine you, and you'll do it our way or the highway. There's nothing constitutional about that, and I just hope that somehow the courts, for once, will stand up for the Constitution and do what's right here. I think that it might be the difference of whether the Republic survives in the long run or not. Well, you know, in my district, when the vote came up, people asked me how my district, what was the level of support, and I said, well, it's about 50-50, and there was a surprise there. I said, yes, half of my district said no, and half had said hell no. It was overwhelmingly opposed in my district, and really across Arizona as well. And now, as you know, in America at large, there is an overwhelming opposition to this health care bill. I'm one of the many members of Congress that have co-sponsored legislation to flat out repeal it. I mean, certainly I'm willing to do anything that we can to resist it along the way, but we need to resist it as much as we can to keep from going into place, and then we need to work. The very first opportunity that we have the votes to do it is to repeal this unconstitutional, un-American legislation. Well, I truly believe that, you know, the health care bill, when it was passed, represented going over that 50% mark, where the federal government controls now slightly, right around the neighborhood of 50% of the American economy, and about 20% of that, 20 of the, you know, of the 50 was the health care bill. That's what, 18 to 20% of the economy. And I'm convinced that, you know, the highway of history is littered with the wreckage of socialist governments that thought that they could create and maintain productivity in markets better than freedom could. And they've always been wrong. And so I'm afraid that if America is forced to embrace this and it becomes part of our national culture and structure, that we will unfortunately join that litany of nations that went down the road to socialism and will be diminished forever. I don't think we'll ever be the country that we were meant to be if we continue down this road. So I'm hopeful that the American people have awakened, and that will be reflected in the next couple of elections, and that we can repeal this disastrous, nightmarish, socialist boondoggle called Obamacare.